Hello friends and fellow flute enthusiasts, and thanks for tuning in. Hey, today I want to bring you something new and revolutionary to our industry. I was talking with Ron Stutz. I recently started carrying his flutes, and a student of mine, Dana, had this brainstorm of, I wonder if there's a way that we can create some sort of tool, some piece of hardware that would help dry our flutes out faster. They brainstormed. I looked at the first prototype, gave some feedback, we tweaked some things. We've been working on this, and this is the result of those conversations and ideas. This is the Flute Dryer, and what it is a sturdy box here. It's got some nice weight to it, so that way it's very stable. There's an opening here. Inside of this box is a 1 amp fan that blows air up out of this hole here. So I know this looks kind of funny, but as soon as I put a flute on it, you're gonna go, oh man, I totally get it. So it does have an on-off switch, so that way if you decide to leave it plugged in, it has a USB receptacle here, or a USB plug here. So this works in computers, laptops. It works in power banks if you're on the go with say you're at a flute circle or you're camping, somewhere where you don't have access to power. You can use a power bank. You can also get the adapter to plug this straight into the wall as well. So what does it do? We've all experienced wet out, and while some flute makers are doing a great job about building some sort of wet out protection into the flute itself, we have a lot of flutes in our collections. I have a lot of flutes in my collections that don't have that technology yet. So what I'm looking at is, say for example, when I'm recording and my flute wets out halfway through, what do? It's like I can't pick up another flute because it's that voice of the flute. So this is a wonderful tool in that if your flutes water out, what you do is you turn this on, and personally what I've experienced with my flutes, and they're all different, they're constructed differently, but usually about 5 minutes is all it takes. So what I'd like to do is say this flute's watered out, and I tested this. I ran through it several tests, and this does work for me. So if you notice your flute's watered out, it's become less responsive, you got the water droplets here, and it's just losing its beautiful sound. Remove the bird, remove the block, and you can wipe away the moisture. Several of us are doing the whole grab the flute by the end and shake it out, and that's something you can do ahead of this too. But here's how it works. So this arm here is adjustable, so depending on the size of the flute, and then you just take the flute and you just rest it there. That's it. Oh, and then you'll turn it on, of course. And that fan will circulate cool, dry air into your flute, and it will dry it out. Like I said, I'm seeing, a matter of under 5 minutes, and my flute plays like it's the first time of the day. So, and this works with, I'll show you how this works with different flute mouthpieces, as well as how to construct this, because it does come in 3 different pieces when you get it out of the box. So let's jump into that now. I'll show you how to construct it and some other things to look at. So now let's take a look at putting the flute dryer together. When you get it in the mail, it'll be in 3 different pieces. You have the main dryer here, the big box. Then you have a rod, look for this in the package, and also you have an arm. This will be wrapped to the box itself, or this is actually the holder. So these 2 components make the arm. So we're going to walk through that first. On the rod itself, it has threads on one end. And between the receptacle for the flute and the on-off switch, you'll find a receptacle for the rod itself. So you just screw that in by hand. You shouldn't need any tools to put this together at all. So there you go. I've got that. Just hand tighten. Because if you tighten this too much and then you want to tear it down to take with you, you'll need a tool for that too. Next we have this little holder, and make sure the set screw, if it's screwed in all the way, it won't go onto this rod. So we got to loosen it up so that way it slides. Okay, and this is adjustable. You can move it if you've got a small flute or a really big flute. You can adjust this accordingly. I'm going to set it close to the top here for what I'm doing. So that's easy. That's all you have to do to put this thing together. There is an on-off switch behind the rod on the top of the flute dryer. On the back side, you'll find an opening, and this is the air intake. Whatever you do, don't obstruct this. Don't put anything over it. It needs that airflow. This is where the air is coming in, and it's being blown out the top here. And then out the back, we've got this cord. It's a couple of feet long, and this is a USB, so you can plug this directly into a laptop, computer, or you can plug it into a power bank if you're on the go. If you're camping or you're at a flute circle, you can plug this into a power bank and get power that way. You can also adapt it to where it just plugs into the wall socket. So there you have it. Now I want to walk you through a couple of the different mouthpieces. I just wanted to show you how they fit on here. Again, this is like a rubber gasket, so it's going to do its job about really cushioning and closing around the flute. So the first one we have is a tapered mouthpiece, and it's real easy. You're just going to set it there and rest the flute in the arm there. You'll want to take the bird off when you do this, otherwise the flute's just going to sing the whole time. Some people will put the leather in front if you don't want to remove your bird and you're like in the middle of playing, you're just like, I need a quick dry out and then get back to playing. You can do that. You can obstruct the airflow here a little bit to keep the flute from whistling. Other people have taken the block off and have either used rubber bands or the leather strap just to tie around this part, just to secure the flute to the arm a little bit more. So that's the tapered. Next we have this like exaggerated nipple style. It's kind of between the nipple and the tapered design. And again, this will fit perfectly, just fine, no problem in that. So this one works really well for that. And then we have, this is a Butch Hall flute. It's got kind of that flattened nipple style here. So that one works really beautifully in there too. Now, if you're working with a smaller flute, there is a rod in the below the opening here. So if your flute is small enough to fit inside of this opening here that holds the other flutes on the mouthpiece, there's a rod going across, so your flute won't go all the way into the box. It'll rest on that rod, and you may have to take this and just lower it a little bit just so things fit better. So there you have it. That's how to put it together and how to use the dryer. Remember, don't leave your flute on this overnight for an extended period of time. Exercise caution when using any electrical device, I should say. So be smart with this. This has been a wonderful tool that I've used, especially in recording. It's wonderful because I like to record a whole song at a time, and I don't like to come back in with a different mood, a different day. And this has dramatically helped me get through a whole song, especially if I'm having trouble getting through that whole entire song. I've got more parts, I'm still working on it and massaging it. This has been really great where I can just take a small break, go get some water, use the restroom, whatever I need to do, throw my flute on here, come back in 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes, and my flute's ready to go like I picked it up for the first time that day. Anyway, a wonderful product. Look for more details on my website for the flute dryer. Thanks so much, stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.